Are you a microgreen grower, or are you just starting out and wondering what kind of equipment you need in order to grow microgreens? Stay tuned, because today I'll give you my honest opinion about what you do and don't need to grow microgreens. So I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. So today I would really like to focus on what you need to grow microgreens or what you don't need. My personal opinion is that you do not need any very expensive equipment to start growing your microgreens. We are a microgreens business as well. We grow for retail clients and for restaurants, and all we have is a really simple setup. We build it ourselves and we use very simple tools, which is sufficient for us. So one of the things that we use with respect to lighting, because people want to go buy expensive lighting, spend a lot of money, so I don't think it's worth it. Not when you just start out. If it's good, it's good, right? I mean, if you have good microgreens, it doesn't really matter what kind of lights you use, how expensive they are. Nobody sees that. It doesn't matter. If the microgreens are good, they're good. So the lights that we are using are very simple. They're shop lights. They're just Latonia lighting. I will show you in a second. These are just regular lights. I mean, there's nothing special about it. Nothing special. So, and these ones just are fully assembled, ready to install, requires 2 times 32 watts T8 bulbs, and that's it. So we have 2 of these each, 2 sets of these above our microgreens. We also have some LED lights, so we have some varieties, but those are LED lights we already had, so we use them, and they work too. So is one better than the other? I mean, in big words, there can be difference between one light or the other, of course. I mean, there's differences, right? But if it's good, it's good. Another thing you need when you start growing is a growing medium. A lot of people use soil, which we don't, because there's a lot of dirt. I don't like to use soil because we also deliver to restaurants. I don't want anything that could contaminate the kitchen area of our restaurants or just for people's homes, because some people just don't want to have dirt in their kitchen. So we use a medium. It's called BioStraight. So this is what we use. We've been using it for a long time. It's quite expensive, but it works. I mean, we have a pretty good deal on the BioStraight. So this is what we're using for now, because we have really, really good results with this. So one of these rolls that we pay for one roll, we pay, what is it? I think $75 Canadian. So for a full roll of this, so we can do quite a few trays for that. So that's what we use as our medium. It depends. You can make it cheaper too. There's people who use jute. There's people who use peat moss. I mean, there's so many different varieties. And for certain microgreens we grow, like for instance our peas, we don't use any substrate at all because they don't need it. You just throw the seeds on the trays and just keep it wet, and it starts growing straight through it. I mean, so for that we don't need it, but for most of them you do need something to grow it on, right? So as I said, we use BioStraight, so it's a little bit more expensive, but whatever, it works for us and it gives us good yields of our microgreens. So another thing you need to grow microgreens is like a medium underneath where you can grow them on. We use 10 by 20 bootstrap farmer trays. So this is one of the bootstrap farmer trays we use. It's a bottom tray. This tray is very heavy, it's very sturdy, and it's very high quality. It's food safe, so it's not going to leach anything negative into your microgreens. So this is a bottom tray we use, and then we also on top of that have a mesh tray, which looks like this. So we put this one in here, and then our medium goes on top of this. And then we have the seeds on top, and we water it. The roots will grow, they grow through, and they come out on the bottom side here, and then they take up the water that we have on the bottom in this tray. So we like these trays because they're really good quality, and we would recommend if you start using any trays of any kind, they have different sizes, that you use bootstrap farmer trays because they are really high quality, and I guarantee you won't regret it. You will be able to reuse them over and over and over again. So bootstrap farmer trays, we have corrugated tray, which is the bottom tray, and then we have a mesh tray on the top, which is for the roots to go through. So that's what we use. Another thing we use is foam. So we have a simple piece of foam that we use for stacking. So if we stack our microgreens, we have this on top of it. So we kind of spray a little bit of water on here, and then we put it on top. Let's say that we have the microgreens in here, like the seeds are on the bottom here on the substrate. We spray it, we put this thing on top, and then we let it germinate like this. So the advantage for us with this is we have this area around here, and this area around also leaves room for air to circulate, so you don't get mold issues. Even if you use a medium like us with our substrate, you can still get mold, of course. Any seed or any area can create mold if there's not enough airflow. Also, if you're interested in reading more about why you're having mold issues, on my blog on santacruzby.com, there's a blog, I will put a link below, where it talks about all different issues you can run into when you're growing microgreens and possible solutions for you to figure out what the issue is. So again, so this one we use just for the germination area, and then it will keep growing. So now I'm going to show you some of the seeds that are in germination and what it looks like when we have this foam on it, what it does, and get deeper into that. So here you can see the example of what I was talking about with the foam on top of the microgreens. So what this does is, while the seeds are in germination underneath here, if you put this on, it kind of forces the roots to go down into the mesh tray, and because there's water in the bottom tray, in the corrugated tray that's underneath, right? So there's a bottom tray, as you can see, and on top is a mesh tray. I'll show you closer in a second. And then on top, you put the foam. Sometimes I also put the paver on top. It depends on what microgreen I'm growing. Sometimes it needs a little bit more weight to be forced down to grow, let the roots grow down into the mesh tray instead of that they're just going all directions. Sometimes it needs that. So the foam, what it does is, like you can see here, this is a red cabbage. So as you can see here, what it's done, it has pushed the seeds down. So this one is at day, so I started this on February 29th. So that's about 4 days. And look what it's done. Look at all these roots. And that's what's happening. So when there's just seeds, when they start germinating, because there's water on the bottom tray, as you can see the water dripping out, because there's water on the bottom tray, the microgreens know that there's water there, so they're growing down, and it's not going a different direction. Also, it's dark on the top, and it keeps the humidity there to keep the seed wet, right? Which makes it germinate, because if it's not, the seed is dry, it will never germinate. It doesn't activate the seed to start growing, right? So this is what it looks like. And it's been growing really well, and it's really pushed down pretty good. And all that with the help of a piece of foam. It's not, for this one, it's not about the weight. So where we use the weight for on top of this one, like a big paver, is when we use to grow peas or when we grow sunflowers. That's the only time we use a paver. Other than that, just this piece of foam is sufficient, and it works, it's cheap, and it works well. So that's what worked for us, and what works. So as you can see, this is a pretty good result so far. So at this stage, what I'm going to be doing is leaving the water out, refreshing the water, and then I'll just put an upside down tray on it. Like so, I grab another bootstrap farmer tray. Let me check it here. Another bootstrap farmer tray like this, and put it on top like this. And then it goes back into the germination area until it's pushed up far enough. So for me, 1.5 to 2 inches tall is enough, and that's when it goes into the lights. So here is a germination area, and what we have here are very few simple racks that we use to germinate a microgreens in. So this is, as you can see, it's just a really, really simple rack. It's nothing expensive, it's just simple. I think we even bought it off of Craigslist from somebody who used to grow before. So we got a really good deal on it too, on top of it. And then we found this one as well. It's also a very simple rack. That's what we kind of use for the heavier ones, like these peas here, for instance. So we had these big domes. We already had these, so we kind of painted them dark because they were translucent as well. So we kind of painted them, and it has air holes on the top, so to make sure that you get airflow, and it works really well. So as you can see, here are my peas, and they're clearly ready for the light. they're ready. They're going to be ready for next week. So let's see how well good that looks. And also this one, it doesn't need any substrate, so we're not using any substrate. So as you can see, look at these roots. It's crazy how it grows. So be very careful with that. I just lost my label. So then on the bottom, what we have is some heat mats. You just put them underneath to create some warmth, but we don't want to put them right underneath the trays because we had some really bad experiences with that. When we had that before, we got mold just because it gets too warm underneath. So we kind of create a warm space where all the microgreens are in, and we just keep them at a distance like this, which works great for us. And the same here, we have a really big heat mat, and this heat mat there, it's the same. We keep it at a distance to make sure that we don't get any mold issues, because if it gets too warm and the water starts boiling, so we get boiling seeds, because that's another big issue. If you start and you don't know and you put it underneath, things can go wrong within a snap. It can go so fast. And as you can see here, what we do as well is stack. So in between each level, we have foam on top of the seeds, and that's where we put the other corrugated tray on it with the next seeds, and then the other one on top of that one, and we rotate. So later on today, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take this tray, put it on the bottom, the middle one goes on the top, and this one goes all the way on the top. So we kind of keep rotating it just to make sure that they all get the same amount of pressure on them. So we here on the top, we have right now wasabi, and we have garlic chives, and we have radish. So we just rotate until we think it's good enough. Sometimes we don't rotate it twice because it's depending on the microgreen. If it's grown far enough, and if you think it gets too heavy and they want it to really push up, then you leave it off and you just let it sit by itself just with the foam on it, or just with an upside down tray, just to let it grow until it's 1/2 to 2 inches tall. So again, this is what we use as racks. Very simple. And now let's go on and I'll show you some of our grow area aeroponic system, the lights we're using, and how it looks. So here I want to show you our lights and our setup. So what we've done here is we built our own aeroponic system because we don't like the roots to sit in the water constantly and swimming. So my husband built this aeroponic system. So we have 3 lines. This is one of them. And then here we have the second one, which one has LED lights. I'll show you in a bit. And then this is our third one. So these ones have the same lights as this one. So again, these are the lights that I showed you in the beginning of the video. So we just have a double. We kind of put them together like this to make sure we have enough light. I just pulled it up to show you because normally spoken, of course, the lights are closer than this. And these are the microgreens growing in here. And what I like about this system is, like I said, it's just constantly rotating the water. So there's little sprinklers underneath here that swirl around. And what they do, they just wet the roots. So it's not constantly sitting in water, soaking away. And the water that goes through here, you have these big basins here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me change this here. So we have these big basins with water, and it has nutrition in it as well. There's no other fertilizer or any other stuff in here. It's all natural. So this one rotates through both of these lines. So through this one, as well as through this one. So they're both connected. So as you can see here, it's a very simple setup, but it works. I mean, and that's all that matters, right? We have a little cove here where kind of the pipe goes in here to the pump, into the other one, and the same there. There's a sprinkler underneath here. It sprinkles all through this line. And then we have our fans. So we have a really big fan here that blows cool air through the room to make it circulate. And then we have another really big one. Let me show you that one here too. So here we have yet another really big fan that's blowing through the area. And it really works. It works really well. Here we have a basin that we have ready when we need to change the water. So if this water needs to be changed, what we do is we put the water that's going to be renewed in the other basin. It's going to go in here. We're going to let it get to the right temperature because the water out of the tap here is really, really cold. So the water, you don't want it to be too cold because it will really not be good for your microgreens. So we put the water in here and then pump it over into this one, and then this one gets emptied out in some buckets with a pump. And I know it's a lot of manual work, but it's actually really cool to do, and it's good because you can see exactly how things work, and it's just really interesting. I really love doing it this way. So this is the way our system is set up. Like I said, it's nothing extravagant. Also here, by the way, we have some fans in here, these little ones. There's one here. There's one here. So besides the two big fans I just showed you, we have these little fans. Also over here, we have also a fan here. There's a fan on the other line. And for us, that's enough to keep the air circulating. Same here. There's a fan here. And then we have a fan right here. So that's how it works for us, and it works really, really well. So as you can see, it's a really simple setup that we have, and it's not that complicated to start your own microgreens, whether it's for a business or just for personal use. It's very easy to start, but you want to start out the right way. I also have a blog on my website where you can read more information on microgreens, and so if you're interested, just go and check the link below this video. I'll make a mention of the blog where you can go straight to it, and let me know what you think about it. Give me some of your opinions, what you feel maybe I missed something, because like I said, there's so many things to cover, right? So I might have missed something that you would like to know. So please ask me any questions you have, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thanks for watching so much. If you really like to see more of these videos, please subscribe to this channel. Follow us on Instagram, we are very active. I do a lot of videos there. They're not all put on YouTube, but nevertheless, it doesn't mean that they're any less meaningful, because those are very often just daily updates on what's going on here behind the scenes. So if you're interested in that, check us out on Instagram at scmicrogrow. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for now, and have an amazing day. Bye.